Welcome to Movies in the Making, everyone! If you would like to hear about how films were done behind the scenes, please like down below and subscribe to this channel for more videos, including what films do you think should be talked about. In today's episode, we are going to be looking at the 2002 zombie horror film 28 Days Later, originally released by Searchlight Pictures and directed by Danny Boyle. Here, we will dive deep into the story of the production of this film. After all, this film is a true standard of the zombie horror genre, and it popularized said genre when it came out. Now, sit back and enjoy the show. You are all in for a zombified ride. Alex Garland was inspired to create 28 Days Later's terrifyingly fast rage zombies out of frustration with the traditional slow-moving undead often seen in zombie media. A passionate gamer, Garland drew key inspiration from Capcom's classic 1996 video game Resident Evil, which rekindled his love for zombie stories. While the game's zombies were slow and easy to escape, it was the sudden, fast-moving attack dogs that truly frightened him and sparked the idea of zombies that could move quickly and unpredictably. The twist gave birth to the iconic sprinting infected of 28 Days Later, which helped reshape the zombie genre and influence later films like Shaun of the Dead, Rogue Pictures 2004, and Zombieland, Columbia Pictures 2009, and video games like Naughty Dog's The Last of Us 2013 and Techland's Dying Light 2015. Danny Boyle became the director after being captivated by Alex Garland's early draft of the script, which he read up to page 5 before saying he had to make the film. Boyle was drawn to its unique concept, not just another virus outbreak, but a psychological virus leading to a hauntingly deserted London. Garland had visited Boyle during the filming of The Beach, 20th Century Studios 2000, and shared the script early despite their limited prior collaboration. Boyle previously directed Shallow Grave, Gramercy Pictures 1994, and Trainspotting, Miramax 1996, and saw 28 Days Later as a return to low-budget, high-impact storytelling. Boyle's directing style for 28 Days Later was rooted in minimalism, driven by both creative intent and budget constraints. He deliberately avoided casting major stars and instead focused on ordinary characters to ground the story in realism. Rather than rely on expensive sets or CGI to depict the virus-ravaged London, he used digital video and guerrilla filmmaking techniques to capture hauntingly empty cityscapes, often shutting down streets for only minutes at a time. The limitations inspired inventive choices, such as portraying devastation not through elaborate destruction but through eerie stillness, making London feel desolate and unnerving. Collaborating closely with screenwriter Garland, Boyle emphasized naturalistic performances and social commentary, drawing on real-world imagery from places like Rwanda, Northern Ireland, and Bosnia to give the scenes documentary-like authenticity. Boyle intentionally chose to shoot the film using DV-based Canon XL1 cameras to capture a raw, harsh visual style that would enhance the film's gritty, realistic atmosphere. This rough-edge quality added to the story's sense of urgency and authenticity. Additionally, the lightweight digital cameras allowed the crew to work quickly and flexibly, enabling rapid setup and breakdown of scenes and making it easier to capture dynamic angles and the chaotic shots that contributed to the film's intense, immersive feel. Cillian Murphy landed his breakthrough without realizing it was a zombie film, admitting he was not familiar with the genre or iconic films like George Romero's Night of the Living Dead, Continental Distributing, 1968. At the time, zombie films were not popular and Murphy saw the story more as a pandemic thriller, especially with the context of real-world health scares like SARS. A fan of director Boyle's earlier work, Murphy was eager for the role and auditioned 6 times. He had previously worked with co-star Brendan Gleeson, which eased some of the nerves of leading the film. Murphy also recalled how they filmed 2 endings, one hopeful, one bleak, which we will discuss later in this video, and how he appreciates the optimistic version. His performance helped spark future collaborations, including with Christopher Nolan, who saw 28 Days Later and later cast Murphy in multiple projects, such as that of the lead real-life character in Oppenheimer, Universal Pictures 2023. Naomi Harris began her journey into acting at a young age in London, as encouraged by her mother, and trained at the Anisher Theatre, where she developed her skills as a performer. Though she started with stage work, her breakout film role came in 28 Days Later. Excited but inexperienced in film, Harris quickly adapted to the demands of screen acting, delivering a powerful performance that earned her critical acclaim and launched her career in cinema. Despite facing challenges, particularly as a black actress in an industry with limited representation, Harris remained determined and went on to achieve major success in roles, becoming one of Hollywood's most respected and versatile talents. The cast underwent a boot camp to bond and mentally immerse themselves in their roles, with actor Luke Mabley recalling the cramped conditions meant to simulate the stress and cohesion of a soldier unit. The shoot was physically demanding, especially during the intense third act set in the country house, which cinematographer Anthony Dodd Mansell likened to a chaotic western, complete with smoke, haze, and unpredictable effects. The production faced quirky challenges, including emergency trips for eye fittings to transform the actors into the infected, with oversized red contacts, and even improvised props like a fake chain made from Haribo sweets and copper spray, created on the fly by a resourceful crew member. 28 Days Later was primarily filmed in London, with its most iconic scenes showing the city eerily empty despite being one of the busiest places in the world. Lacking a large budget, the filmmakers could not shut down major areas, so they captured the haunting stillness of London by shooting in the early hours of the morning, just after dawn, when the streets were mostly deserted. Using small, agile cameras and a quick-moving crew, they filmed scenes like Cillian Murphy's character walking alone across Westminster Bridge, an extraordinary feat considering the location's usual bustle near landmarks like Big Ben and the London Eye. This approach gave the film an authentic and chilling atmosphere without relying on CGI. In addition to London, other key filming locations include a countryside cottage in Innerdale and a mansion in Trafalgar Park, Salisbury. One particularly challenging scene was shot on the M1 motorway, emphasizing the emptiness left by the fictional rage virus. Director Boyle's low-budget, high-ingenuity method of portraying a post-apocalyptic city set a new standard in the genre, influencing later films like I Am Legend, Warner Bros. 2007. To convincingly portray deserted Britain, the team had to be extremely precise with their filming schedule, especially for scenes on the M1 motorway. Under police supervision, they shot early in the morning between 7 and 9 a.m., with officers gradually slowing traffic from both directions to create brief windows for filming. Using 10 cameras, the crew captured what they could during these short intervals, ultimately managing to get just 60 seconds of usable footage for the film. To enhance authenticity, the film used a real hospital for filming certain scenes, taking advantage of its weekend closures when it was not operating. This arrangement allowed the crew to shoot without disrupting hospital activities. As an added bonus, the rental fees were directed to the hospital's trust fund, turning part of the film's production budget into a charitable contribution and making the film shoot beneficial beyond just cinematic purposes. Boyle recalled that the early scenes were filmed before the 9/11 attacks, during a time when security in London was far more relaxed, so much so that they could tow buses when outside Downing Street without issue, something that would be impossible in the heightened security climate that followed. Cast and crew were staying in Canary Wharf during the attacks, and actress Megan Burns remembered waking up to the news in a state of panic, especially given their proximity to the business district. The production team, including Robert Howe, watched the unfolding tragedy on screens at their office, creating a surreal and sombering atmosphere. Pat Karam noted that the aftermath of 9/11 brought a shift in attitude from local authorities, who became more hesitant to cooperate with filming. Boyle later reflected that the film resonated with audiences partly because it unintentionally captured the post-9/11 sense of vulnerability, showing massive cities as fragile and exposed rather than invincible. During filming, a scheduled explosion at the petrol station at Canary Wharf caused unexpected chaos when someone forgot to inform the police, leading them to believe it was a real emergency and prompting the fire brigade to respond. Although all proper paperwork had been filed, the miscommunication caused a significant delay until Boyle resolved the issue hours later. The explosion cost around £250,000 and was a major event for the film's modest budget, though still small by Hollywood standards. 28 Days Later contains a noticeable continuity error that sharp-eyed viewers often point out. Although the film clearly establishes that all of London has lost its electrical power, the main characters conveniently find a fully lit supermarket with functioning electricity. While the idea of a background generator could explain it, the likelihood seems low, making it a glaring inconsistency in an otherwise immersive narrative. The film has two different endings because the filmmakers explored multiple ways to conclude the story, each with a distinctive tone and impact. While the theatrical ending offers a somewhat hopeful resolution with the survivors being spotted by a plane, several alternate endings reveal a darker fate where Jim, the main protagonist, dies. One version shows Jim succumbing to his wounds in a hospital while Selena and Hannah continue alone, and another portrays the two waving at the plane without Jim. A more dramatic alternate ending, which removes the soldier subplot entirely, features Jim sacrificing himself to save Hannah's infected father through a blood transfusion, creating a bittersweet, emotionally charged finale. The producers debated which ending best fit the harsh, survival-driven tone, leading to the American release including one of the darker endings as a post-credit "what if" scene. Both endings are considered valid director's cuts, allowing audiences to interpret the story's conclusion in different ways. As of the 10th of June 2025, 28 Days Later has an 87% critics rating on Rotten Tomatoes, a 73 out of 100 critic score on Metacritic, a 7.5 rating on IMDb, and a 3.8 rating on Letterboxd. The film's budget was $8 million and grossed a total about $45 million following its initial release date at the 1st of November 2002. Sony Pictures acquired the rights to 28 Days Later in 2022 from producer Andrew McDonald as part of its plan to launch a new trilogy, beginning with the upcoming film 28 Years Later. Despite the original film's massive popularity and influence on the zombie genre, it had been largely unavailable on streaming services or for digital purchase due to long-standing rights issues. Sony strategically decided to re-release 28 Days Later digitally on the 18th of December 2024 to capitalize on the renewed interest and build momentum for the trilogy. While 28 Days Later was produced by DNA Films and distributed by Searchlight, now owned by the Walt Disney Company, 28 Weeks Later, Fox Atomic, 2007, was more directly a Fox production, with DNA Films only co-producing. This is why Sony ironically does not own 28 Weeks Later despite being canon to the previous film. And that wraps up our deep dives into the making of 28 Days Later. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to stay updated on all things movies in the making. Let us know in the comments what you think of 28 Days Later, or if you have any theories for a film we didn't touch upon, or what films you would like to hear covered by this channel. Also be sure to check out our community page, where we announce what films to be talked about by this channel each week. New posts arrive every Friday, or Saturday, if you forget to post on Friday. Thanks for watching, we'll see you all next time on Movies in the Making. We'll be talking about WALL-E, Walt Disney Pictures 2008, and more films follow along the way. Tune in for more Movies in the Making as we uncover stories behind cinema's most unforgettable films. This has been Jason Scotchmer, film enthusiast and passionate about the arts.